Welcome to the Justin and Joe Debate Show, featuring your hosts, Justin Hooper and Joe Diamond. Gentlemen, today's topic, the removal of the Confederate flag in pop culture and political buildings. Go.
I think that's wrong. It's a part of our history.
You know, I think why they're moving it. I mean, it's just a bunch of black people, and they're offended by it.
Yeah, but they should. Flag. You know, it's like if anything, what the Civil War wasn't just about slavery. There was more other topics.
Well, another thing, all these black people, they weren't alive when the Civil War happened. So why are they so fucking offended?
I don't know. I just think it's stupid.
They're a bunch of Justin.
Well, of course they are. But I think it's stupid to remove the Confederate flag as a part of history.
I mean, it was there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was part of... I mean, you know, slaves, technically, I mean, they had it pretty good. I mean, they were fed every day. They were clothed. They didn't have to, you know, go out there. I mean, they just had a set task that they did every day. It wasn't like they were being... I mean, some of them might have been whipped if they were, you know, misbehaving, but...
Free meals. The whipping would have been a little too far, though. That's a little too far to think about it.
I mean, free meals for free.
I know, but yeah, I get that. But why would they whip them? Why was there need to whip them?
Because they were misbehaving. And
it doesn't matter.
They should.
Would you whip your child if it was misbehaving?
It would instill discipline, Justin.
Yeah, but why whip?
They won't. They will know not to do that again.
I get that, but I'm just saying, whip. Would you not just use your hand?
You could.
Okay.
But, you know...
But why does it have to be a whip?
That was what they had at the time, Justin.
I get that, but there's no need to whip them people.
You know, sometimes you need just a bit more pain to tell you, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, but sometimes they whip them just because of small things, nothing that was really effective.
Hold on for a second. If you turned on your stove, for instance, and you put your hand on
like this.
Yes, if you put your hand on the burner... You would feel pain. Would they not tell you not to stick your hand there again?
Yes.
That's what the whipping was.
Yeah, but there's no need to do the whipping. But anyway, just to, with the obviously saying that, would you remove the Nazi flag?
You know, I mean, that was part of history, too.
Yeah, any flag is a part of history.
It happened, you know, and...
we're not proud of what happened in the Civil War, but it happened.
Exactly. Another thing about the Nazis, I mean, you know, he killed a lot of Jews, but it wasn't just Jews, you know.
Very true.
And people today, they claim to be Jewish, but you're not from Jerusalem, dumb. You weren't born, you're not Jewish.
I mean, you
stupid piece of you know.
But, either way, the Confederate flag...
The Confederate flag. Yeah, the flag.
Whatever it represents, doesn't mean a thing. It was a part of history.
Yes. And there's plenty of things that are part of history.
Yeah.
You don't just wipe them away.
It's like serial killers. They're a part of history. We're not proud of it. Yeah.
Well, they don't happen nowadays. Cause,
there's still stuff that happens that's considered, huge.
But, I mean, you know, you don't just wipe away
history
because you don't like it.
I mean, basically they're saying, okay, we just wipe away history.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right.
No, it's not. You know, a lot of women do that too. They wipe away their history. They become born-again virgins.
How do you become a born-again virgin? How do you do that?
Let me explain, Justin.
Oh, God.
You have sex with a bunch of people.
Okay, so you can't take back your virginity.
Hold on, you didn't let me finish.
Doesn't matter, you still can't take back your virginity.
You didn't let me finish.
I don't care.
And once you've had sex with all these different guys, you become a born-again Christian.
Okay, so what's that have to do with... You still slept with those guys.
all of a sudden, your vagina seals up from your born-again Christian.
And how do you know this? Have you witnessed this?
And that I've read about it, I've heard about it, and it does happen.
So I read about the fact that there's ghosts flying around the country. It doesn't mean I see them.
I don't know if you've met her, but Becky, like Melissa's friend, Becky, she is a born again. So
you mean her vagina just go?
She had sex with so many different people.
And you can't take that back.
And then all of a sudden you find Jesus Christ,
But still, you
it
can't take your
shrivels
virginity
up.
back.
It
You still
shrivels-
can't take your virginity back.
You can't, but that's what they claim.
What's your?
They claim to be, oh, I need a real man. Ooh.
I mean,
But
what-
you've had sex with so many fucking people, you can't have a healthy.
So basically, if I sleep with a bunch of women, I can become a born again Christian or virgin.
It's different for guys.
Well, why is it different for guys and not for men?
Because women have sex
Why?
with assholes. Yes.
So that doesn't matter. It doesn't mean their vagina can sleep like
But
that.
that's how they feel. That's how they feel. You know.
But that's still.
It's all about how you feel with a woman. It's all about how you.
Well,
feel.
anyway, what does that have to do with the Confederate flag?
Everything. So I'm sure there's plenty of whorish black women back in that day. I'm
So
sure
you're
there's
saying
plenty-
only black women can be whores?
I'm sure there's plenty of slave owners that have sex with their.
They probably
slaves,
did.
you
But
know?
what does that have to do with it? You saying that basically that's why we should remove the Confederate flag or should keep it? What?
I don't care about the fucking Confederate flag. It can stay there. You know,
There
it's
you go.
fine. It's fine, right where it is. I don't have one, but people can have one, and I don't care.
Okay.
Because I'm a successful white male. I'm not a unsuccessful black male.
So you're
So
saying
I don't need a I don't need to bitch about the Confederate
well,
flag.
so you're saying that only unsuccessful black people about the Confederate flag.
Exactly. They're
Well,
saying.
what about the successful ones?
I don't see them bitching about it.
Okay, there you go. That's a good point.
But the unsuccessful black men are saying, "Oh, the white man's."
But what's that have to do? You said it had to do with the being born again virgin. You know, the vagina slapping. Like
I was just adding that in there. I'm sure there's plenty of black women that do that.
So you say they sleep with a bunch of white boys just to get back at the white man?
Some of them, but you know they smell like cornbread, so I'm not having sex.
How do you
with
know
them.
they smell like cornbread? Have you been actually around some black people?
That's what they eat, Justin.
That doesn't mean they always eat that. That's like saying, "Oh, here I'm a black person. I'm going to eat fried chicken and watermelon."
They do, and they have collard greens with it.
Are you? Have you witnessed them actually eat all this?
That's what they like to eat, Justin.
How do you know this? Have you talked to actual black
It's a
people?
black cuisine. You
Well,
know?
I'm
It's
a white
black-
person. Does that mean I like to eat hamburgers and pizza?
Yes.
But how do you know I don't like to eat more? Maybe I like to eat cornbread. You ever thought about that?
When was the last time you had cornbread,
I
Justin?
can't remember last time. I'm just making a point.
Exactly. You can't
I've
remember
eaten fried chicken
the
though.
last fucking time you had cornbread.
I've eaten fried chicken.
Everybody eats fried chicken.
Well, but you're saying technically
but not
only
with
black-
cornbread or
But-
collard greens.
But if I was given cornbread with chicken, I would still eat it.
But you aren't given it. You don't go out of your way to get cornbread and
If
fried chicken.
if I was given some cornbread with some fried chicken, I'd still eat it, even with watermelon and
you
grape
would,
soda.
but you don't go out of your fucking way to get it. Black people.
Are you
do.
saying black people go out of their way just to
They
get some
do.
cornbread? How do you know this? Have you witnessed this?
It wouldn't be such a stereotype if it didn't happen.
But you're making it more of a stereotype than it has to be.
No, it is a stereotype.
So, like,
They're also
that's saying that
lazy.
Jewish people only eat Chinese food on Christmas.
I've never heard of Jewish people eating Chinese
Well, apparently
food.
they do.
Where does this come from? I've never fucking heard of Jewish people
Because
eating
Jewish
Chinese
people
food.
don't believe in Christmas. But
What's that
I'm not
to do with Chinese
stereotyping. I'm
food?
just saying that you're stereotyping black people for eating cornbread. That, you know. But anyway, should you think everybody should make a big deal about the Confederate flag?
No.
Of course
A
not.
Confederate flag?
Confederate flag. Is that
No, I
better?
don't. I don't care about the
Hey.
Confederate flag. Yeah, I can shit on it. I wouldn't care.
Okay, there you go. Then that's
It doesn't matter.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry we were out of time. That concludes today's topic. Thank you very much. Good night.
Yorkies!